Alright, I guess we must be live now. Let me check if everything is working well on my side. Just doing a quick sound test here. Let me check. Yes, everything there is working. Amazing. Now we just wait for a little bit before the first moments start in. Hello, hello. I see the first people are joining here. We can hear you well. That's absolutely amazing to hear. Amazing, guys. We have a lot of important stuff upcoming, important data upcoming actually. So yeah, it's going to be a super important print before the next FOMC meeting, and that's basically why I'm live streaming. Also, guys, feel free, because this is my first live stream, to just drop your questions to me, for example, in the comments. Just also getting to know each other a little bit better. I do want to know also a little bit more about you guys, about my audience. I'm quite interested to hear what your thoughts are also. So just drop some questions in the chat if you are if you do want to know something from me or do have some questions, for example. Basically today we have a lot of important stuff dropping, a lot of important data coming out with the unemployment rate and the non-farm payrolls. So that's going to be super important for the US labor market, and we do know that the US labor market... No, today is not a meeting of the FOMC, by the way. I see a comment about that. It's not the FOMC meeting. It's basically just a super important day for data coming out about the labor market. And since the Fed is now pivoting a bit more towards the labor market, it's going to be very important data. XRP price target. I don't know exactly about that. I don't track XRP that well, to be fair. Hi from Africa, I think. I think it's South Africa, maybe. Very nice to see you. How are you doing? Do you have a Discord or community where we can share thoughts, insights, and trading ideas? Actually, we do have, and I've linked the trading community in the description on this live stream. I will also get it on the stream here, so you guys can take a look into that too. I think I've linked it. Maybe I forgot it. Let me check. Yes, there it is. Here in the description on this update video, I've basically linked our VIP Telegram group. Over there you can join, and that's basically a group where me, Crypto Rover, and 5 professional other traders are constantly sharing our thoughts about the market, and we are also actively trading, basically because of, for example, the labor market data we've coming out today. So there you can join our private Telegram group. That's basically a little bit of a smaller group to also keep it a little bit more simple and high quality. And we also have our public Telegram group where we, for example, share some free signals. But yeah, in my opinion, it's less value. I do think you can just join the VIP Telegram group if you do want more value, and also just daily contact with us if you are interested in, for example, that. But I do want to discuss some of the data, because basically what we have coming out today, like stated, the unemployment rate and the non-farm payrolls are going to be important to see where the US labor market is standing. And the US labor market is so important because the Fed is basically pivoting their monetary policy more to the labor market and less to the inflation data. So if you are going to see a very bad print for the for example, the US labor market, so here we are looking for a high unemployment rate and basically a lower non-farm payrolls job report. That's going to be very bullish for crypto, because that means we are probably going to see rate cuts, and we are getting a lot of stimulation over like the next months. So that's also why the target rate probabilities are going to be so important, because if you are, for example, going to see data which indicates that the US job market is still very strong, then the target rate cut probabilities are probably coming down, and that's going to be bearish for the market. And I do think we are going to see quite a big reaction if something like that would be happening here. But actually the market is currently looking quite nice. If you guys had been watching the update video from this morning, you do know that Ethereum is actually kind of making the same retest on the breakout line, just like we saw before the Fed Powell speech, when we saw the massive pump to the top side. So actually Ethereum is looking quite good. And also Bitcoin is definitely looking very strong, also on the sort of a shorter term, but yeah, of course, still breaking out of the falling wedge. And I do also think that with the Nasdaq, with gold, with everything moving to the top side, the market in general is just looking very good. So that's quite nice. Hello, love from India. Thank you so much. That's great. I'm 400k long, so let's see what happens. That's absolutely amazing, man. That's absolutely amazing. I have a little bit of a smaller position. I have an 15,000 US dollar position open on Ethereum. And actually, just in case, because of course we are still in September, which is usually a weaker month, I still have some limit orders open for Ethereum. So basically, I'm protected on both sides of the market. So if the market is going to come down a little bit, I have my limit orders open for Ethereum there. And if it is not going to be the case yet, then it doesn't matter too much for me. Much more likely to get bullish data than not. Yeah, probably, because the market is definitely expecting it. So if that is not going to be the case, we are probably going to see a huge dump. But the market is definitely expecting bullish data. I'm from Sri Lanka. Amazing. All different countries in the chat. Great to see. But yeah, basically I'm protected both sides of the market now. If in case we are going to move lower, I have my limit orders open, and otherwise I've opened this Ethereum position because I do believe that Ethereum in that ending stage of the cycle is definitely going to perform quite well, because it always does so in the post-halving years. In the true ending stage of the year, that's normally the phase where Ethereum and also altcoins do outperform. When's the news and what's the news today? Yeah, just like I stated, the unemployment rate and the non-farm payroll is coming out. When's the news? The news is coming out at, for me it's 16:30. It's actually 8:30 US time. So it's in about 30 minutes from here. 28 minutes now to be exact. So in about half an hour, the data is coming out. And then probably we are going to see a reaction from the market quite immediately after that. So I'm actually quite excited to see what's about to happen here. Just like stated, Bitcoin is still looking quite good, with also gold on the 200 daily lag indicator still looking quite good. I do think Bitcoin is eventually going to catch up, definitely on the larger time frames, seeing that final Bitcoin move higher here. So in my opinion, that is still looking quite good. And of course, guys, we still have this massive CME gap laying above us. So also that is still, in my opinion, somewhat of a magnet to the top side. And if you can see a positive reaction today, I do think we are going to fill up the CME gap, because that's what happens like 95% of the time. So I traded myself from roughly 2,500 euros to around 50k. Oh, I can't see the message. The message is deleted, actually. When news coming out in about 30 minutes, guys. 27 minutes till rocket run. Yeah, let's hope so. We have to see. We have a lot of different forecasts actually. So also from, let me see where I have that post. Yeah, also basically we had this comment from Trump on the Labor Bureau numbers, saying that the real numbers will be in a year from now. So maybe he's expecting kind of a bad print, because the US president still doesn't want to see a weak labor market, because that's like one of the most important things for the US president. You don't want to leave behind a weak labor market. But for crypto, actually, definitely for the ending stage of the cycle, I do think it could be hugely bullish. On the very long term, rate cuts aren't that bullish, of course. If the data is bullish, what price can we expect from ETH today? Yeah, it depends. ETH is looking quite strong. I do think for ETH it's going to be important to basically take out this high, and then we could probably be moving much higher. Basically, for Bitcoin, the same can be said. For Bitcoin, we also have like an important high laying. Then I have to look at some of the shorter term time frames. Actually, Bitcoin is looking very strong in my opinion. Actually looking quite nice here. And we have some important levels. I do think this is going to be an important level of resistance. We got a rejection from here. And also here, laying a bit lower, we have a new level of resistance. And yeah, eventually we could be moving higher. I do think that, for example, the CME gap is going to be important. I do think we will be filling up the CME gap eventually. So if you can take out this high from here, we will be filling up the CME gap to the top side. And from there, we just have to see how the market is going to perform. Do you see ETH breaking the 4,500 resistance? Yeah, of course, it's hard to give like an exact price prediction, but I do think the chances are there. But like on the other hand, the thing with this data, in my personal opinion, is that like the Fed rate cut probabilities are at 97% here. So it's basically already 100%. So yeah, maybe it's a little bit of the thing that we can only move a little bit lower and not that much higher anymore because the expectations are so high here. The only thing I can think of which could be really driving the prices higher, if you're truly going to see very bad data and we could be seeing a larger rate cut, for example 50 BPS rate cut. Yeah, that could be a thing that could push the prices truly much higher, but it's also actually a very big warning signal for the US labor market. If the rate cuts does not happen, that would be crazy. It would definitely be crazy. I do think that is going to be negative for Ethereum, but I do think it will happen because, we did see at that Powell speech lately that basically they are truly pivoting towards rate cuts and truly focused on the US labor market. And the US labor market is getting weaker. We have seen it also at the initial jobless claims yesterday. Basically more jobless claims once again, higher than expectations, a lot higher than expectations actually. So yeah, the US labor market isn't looking that well, so rate cuts are probably going to be what's next. Wow, first time watching a live from a Goose. Hey Crypto J, I know you have been watching for a while. Amazing to have you here. Yeah, first live actually. So yeah, great to see you guys in the chat over here. Do most of the guys watch the daily updates videos? It would be absolutely amazing to hear, of course. Yeah, here I also have like a quick summary of all of the data. How long do you think this cycle would last? Sir, low voice. I can turn my voice a little bit up, but I think it's fine. Is my voice fine? Can you guys hear me? Is it fine? How long do you think this cycle would last? Yeah, actually, me myself, I'm targeting Q4. I think we could be topping out before December. That is actually what historically has happened. December is actually not that much of a bullish month. So we basically have about 3 months left of bullish price data. And then I actually do think the top could be in Q4 there. But yeah, I must say it's quite of a hard cycle to of course expect that. Because the thing with this cycle is it's basically a lot different with all of the institutional accumulation, in my opinion. So that's why I do find it kind of hard to predict, because I also see a lot of people talking about no on-chain top indicators are flashing. But I myself think that a lot of on-chain indicators are not that relevant anymore. And we have to pivot towards new on-chain indicators. And there are also examples of on-chain indicators which are overheated yet. So it's quite hard to exactly predict that. And also we don't know what the monetary policy is going to look like for like the next few months. If we are going to see a lot of rate cuts, a lot of stimulation, we are going to see insane price action probably, both to the downside and the upside. So it's kind of hard to predict. But I still believe in the 4-year cycle until proven otherwise, basically. So that's why I do think it's likely for Bitcoin to see a cycle top before December. Actually, I think so. Maybe even October. If we don't see a rate cut, can we expect a bear market? No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I don't think it would be like an immediate bear market. I do think we will finish the 4-year cycle. But yeah, ultimately we can see in the market that Ethereum and altcoins are definitely thriving on the rate cuts and the probability of more stimulation in the economy. So it's definitely something important currently for the markets. Some say institution ETF inflow changed the cycle completely. Do you disagree? No, I don't disagree actually. I don't think it changed the cycle completely. I do think, me personally, that it is a little bit different, because also with Bitcoin, the thing with Bitcoin is, for example, I will go back to the charts and show you guys something interesting. The thing with Bitcoin is, I will just get the gold chart out for a little bit, then I can show you guys something. In my opinion, and that's also the big difference of this cycle, like in, for example, the 2021 cycle, we just had like this insane price action of like 2-3 months. It was absolutely insane, just in one big move higher, basically. And of course we saw drawdowns, but not a very big consolidation phase or something like that. This cycle, which is truly different, is that we are seeing insane and large consolidation phases like we haven't seen before. And basically that's happening now once again in that consolidation phase here. So In my opinion, most of that is because retail is taking profits at these new highs, basically. And we have the institutional accumulation basically absorbing a lot of the sell pressure. That's also why I see in comment incoming people do find this cycle more boring, and it also is. But it's a completely different cycle, and you can see it at these long consolidation phases. That is not something we have before. And basically, it's large institutions absorbing most of the sell pressure, and eventually there's enough buy pressure once again to see such a large move higher, like we saw before after the elections, for example. So that's why I do think it's actually very different. But on the other hand, I do also think that definitely once we are going to see some retail interest getting back into the markets, which eventually will happen if you're just going to be heading higher, it doesn't matter if it's institutional money or not. I do eventually think retail will still get a lot of interest once again. We saw it with Ethereum, with the Google Trends actually spiking up just a while ago. So yeah, we saw it. The retail interest is there, but it will go quite fast once they get there. And once they do so, I do eventually think we could find a cycle top. And there are still a lot of risks for a potential bear market, like all the over leveraged positions from a lot of the treasury companies. That's actually one of my biggest concerns for basically this bear market, and that could be a big reason where we could maybe see a move higher for Bitcoin eventually, and an ending of the bull market, because in the end it's about liquidity cycles. Let me check. If we don't see rate cuts, can we expect bear markets? Yeah, I just give an answer on that. Some say institutions. Voice is great. Amazing. Right now, my overall portfolio, I'm spot only up by 2%, so I do feel that I've allocated funds properly. I don't completely understand your question, to be fair. Now my overall portfolio, I am at spot only, I'm up 2%, so yeah, I don't know exactly. Maybe you can drop like everything you hold or something. What if there's no bear market this season, just like Michael Saylor said? Yeah, I think that's just a bit delusional. Eventually, everything is about liquidity. We are just following liquidity cycles most of the times, and eventually there's always going to be a bear market if a recession is going to hit. I do think Bitcoin and crypto are too young assets to, for example, move higher during those times like gold. Maybe it will, but I don't think so. I do still think we could see a bear market. When's the data live? It's coming out in about 15 minutes, 17 minutes actually. So we are getting quite close, and it's going to be super interesting because, yeah, we do know. Basically, for the unemployment rate, we should be coming out at 4.3% minimum, in my opinion. And if you do want to see like a pump, we should be seeing data coming out higher than that 4.3%. For non-farm payrolls, you actually do want to see a lower amount than the forecast. So we do want to see a lower amount than the 75K, because non-farm payrolls basically shows how much jobs are being added to the US economy. And it sounds a bit weird, but actually we do want less jobs for crypto and not more jobs. What's your bear market target for Bitcoin? Yeah, good question. It's probably, of course, we do have like the average purchase price of Michael Saylor, which I think is now about like 77K or something like that. We do also have some moving average lines. Yeah, it's quite hard to predict, but I see like a bear market bottom, I think about $50,000 US. I do think that could be an ultimate bear market bottom, because eventually, yeah, Bitcoin is just evolving. The market is evolving. No, I don't think we could be dropping below $30,000 US anymore. But yeah, everything is possible still, right? So it also truly depends on what's going to be the reason of the bear market and what's happening. Should we hold altcoins until when? Yeah, like the thing with this, in my opinion, and I also stated in a lot of my update videos, you can also see this on the altcoin season index. I will just open it a little bit. It's actually quite a simple tool, but it's useful because it just shows you how altcoins are performing against Bitcoin. The thing is, we are not in that altcoin season yet now, but ultimately that's going to be the moment where you do want to be accumulating some altcoins before we are eventually going to be heading higher. The thing is, should we hold altcoins now? I think you should just be buying and holding up until we are going to see the altcoin season and the absolute ending phase of the cycle. Because otherwise, you're just going to be buying into the FOMO at the ending stage of the cycle, and that's not going to work well, probably. This is my first cycle, and your videos really gave me good knowledge and helped me a lot. That's absolutely amazing, man. Pleasure to hear that, actually. Amazing. So yeah, I do think it's still a great time to be accumulating altcoins. Also, if you're looking where ETH is currently standing, guys, it's absolutely insane. We have seen some insane price action, guys. Most people do forget this, but I've been buying a lot of Ethereum at these ultimate lows, guys. So I do know where we did come from, and actually it is still lining up perfectly. Also, yeah, I would just show another interesting chart about altcoins, which I also share in some daily update videos. Others versus ETH, which is actually now showing a bottom, which is quite interesting. And this is also something we saw before the 2021 altcoin season, basically. So that's why it's quite interesting, in my opinion. We saw basically massive outperformance from Ethereum against altcoins. Then eventually we saw the bottom, and then a massive push higher. And that is something which is exactly happening now once again here. Ethereum outperforming altcoins, finding the bottom, and eventually moving higher. So that's quite looking quite good, in my opinion. And we can also see it on the RSI, because you can of course just prepare this based on the move downwards, now big it is, but you should be looking into our indicators too. And then we have the RSI. In 2021 it was at one of the most oversold levels ever, but now we actually did hit the most oversold level ever. And it's also on the weekly time frame, so it's quite a big time frame also, which is of course quite interesting. So I do think this is actually going to be the moment where altcoins will start outperforming in that next push higher. So in my opinion, the most important thing is just your time in the market now, and you should not be taking too much of a look into the data, for example. Of course, it's important to know what's happening with the markets, but yeah, ultimately, if you do believe in the 4-year cycle, we should still see some altcoin outperformance for like 2 to 3 months at that ending stage, and I do still believe in that. And also, not even others versus ETH only, guys. You also have like others versus Bitcoin. Flashing a golden cross, which is also quite a positive indicator, right? So that's also something for altcoins. So in my opinion, we are seeing a lot of positive signals, and now that the price are actually still very low, it's probably going to be a great moment to be accumulating, instead of doing it once altcoins have started pumping yet already. And this is something we should keep our eyes on, guys, on the rate cut probabilities. It's going to be the most important thing. We can still go up a little bit more, but this is going to be the most important data, and it is going to be highly affected by the jobless data coming out today. So it's going to be interesting. And let's just fill up that CME gap. Are you considering making a video about what altcoins you hold? That would be nice because of all the BS. Yeah, I'm definitely considering that. We could do something like that, since we also, of course, have opened that Ethereum trade. So I have a lot of conviction in the ending stage of the cycle. I think maybe it's more fun if you just do a dedicated video about it, so I can give a little bit of a better explanation than just dropping off the altcoins I'm currently holding. I think that's actually quite of a nice idea. So yeah, do other people also want to see something like that? Then I can throw it on the channel in like the upcoming days. Is this your first cycle? No, it's my second cycle personally. Also the 2021 cycle, and that's also why I showcased it's just a little bit different with those big consolidation phases, and with all of the institutional accumulation we are currently seeing. So yeah, it definitely feels a lot different than the insane FOMO we basically saw there. Oof, I'm actually seeing some news coming out, which is not that great to see. Let me check. Breaking. The US Bureau of Labor Statistics says it's experiencing technical difficulties just 30 minutes before the highly anticipated August jobs report. Absolutely amazing. I would just also post this on my channel, guys, so 1 second. I do think this could mean that that there could be a little bit of a delay in the data. I'm not seeing that being posted yet. But yeah, we will just wait and see if that's going to be the case. Just before such important data. Insane. Maybe it's on purpose. Maybe it's on purpose. Or am I too much of a conspiracy thinker then? Let me just quickly post it on the channel, guys. Alright. Love from Pakistan. Love back. Can you also do an XRP analysis? Yeah, we can look into the chart. Are a lot of people in the comments holding XRP? I'm not holding XRP myself. Actually, I also not looking into towards the chart of XRP that much, but yeah, it basically does look similar of what a lot of altcoins are currently doing. Bit of a descending triangle for XRP. It doesn't say too much, right? It doesn't say too much currently, because the thing is, we just have to see Ethereum making that final move higher, that last move of the bull market. I do think in that phase, altcoins are probably going to perform the best, and the same can be said for XRP. Not only everything in the Ethereum ecosystem, but just all altcoins, because eventually what you're going to see is once Ethereum is going to start moving higher, the wealth effect is going to kick in. So it basically means that a lot of people are going to take profits on their Ethereum holdings, and they're going to rotate more towards the altcoins market, and that's probably something important. Like, the thing with this is, I also posted, I would just look for the post. I don't have that chart myself because actually I have been switching up PCs, so I'm not in all my trading view stuff yet. I will, I think, what was like bull case. Let me check. I also have this Ethereum chart, and we've been talking about a lot about this chart on the channel actually since like the Ethereum lows. So actually everyone which did follow this call did already make a lot of money at the conservative case target, which is also a target where me personally, I did take some profits on my Ethereum holdings. And yeah, I do think between that conservative case moving towards the bull case, in that phase of the markets, probably most of the profits are going to be made. That's going to be the phase where you also see altcoins starting to really outperform, because that's what usually happens after Ethereum truly breaking through the 2021 cycle high, which did happen. We did make new all-time highs, but we still got rejected in the supply zone basically. So yeah, please bro, BNB, what's next? BNB is only up, I've seen basically. BNB, the BNB chart actually looks insane. Yeah, me personally, I'm quite a big fan of BNB, but it's just you're investing in a high revenue protocol. You're investing in great products. I do think BNB is just going to be very safe holding, and we've seen that like this cycle. It's just like not a volatile holding at all. Of course, it does see drawdowns, it does see pullbacks, it does see pumps higher, but actually it's such a nice looking chart for BNB. So I do think this is going to be somewhat of a safer investment, because yeah, I don't think BNB is, for example, going to 5x from here, maybe a 2x in the altcoin season, but yeah, probably not too much more than that. And also I do think BNB could be doing a little bit more with promoting their token, and also just with the building in the ecosystem, just trying to make it a little bit more interesting for retail, because basically do you know a lot of people which are actually using BNB this cycle? In my opinion, it's just mostly Solana and also Tron for payments and stuff. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm just chilling with the wrong people which are not using BNB. Maybe a lot of people are using it, I don't know, but I feel like BNB could be doing a little bit more to truly attract more retail also. But yeah, the chart is looking absolutely amazing, man. And the same with XRP. I do think you should not be too much looking in towards the short-term altcoin price action. I do think it's more importantly to basically monitor what's Ethereum going to do next. And if we are going to break above this previous high, it's going to be hugely bullish for Ethereum here. And then I'm also going to make some profits on my Ethereum trade, so that would be absolutely amazing. And also, guys, for everybody that's watching now, I have talked about this earlier, but if you do want updates about these trades, me, Crypto Rover, and 5 professional other traders, we do have like this VIP trading group where you can join us and trade with us and look at our setups. We have a lot of setups currently dropping, but I don't want to show everything, because that's not fair for the people which did join the group, because you do have to take some steps to join actually, because we don't want low quality people in the group. We just only want serious people, serious crypto investors, people who just want to know, to learn something about the market. Because guys, the thing is with this group, it's not going to be the case that you are just going to get setups, you're going to take them and you're going to print. Of course, that would be absolutely amazing, but not all setups in a group print. The most important thing is that you're going to look at a setup of different style traders, and also Crypto Rover and me, and from there you can start basically creating your own strategy to start outperforming the market. That's the most important thing. Full-time trader here. You can actually, how to join the group. You can join it here with the link in description under this live stream. So just check out that link. No, it's not. It is completely free, but you have to do a deposit on VX of $100. Why? Because we only want like serious people who are truly want to start trading. And if you don't have that $100 yet to start trading, I don't want to be harsh, but just get like a job first, guys. That's also the thing. If you don't have $100 ready to, for example, start trading yourself, it's also not going to be worth it in the group, because for trading you need some funds to start with also. So that's why we do have some steps, and you just deposit some funds on VX, and from there you can join the group, and then you are you're in the group and you can profit from some amazing setups, and most importantly, in my opinion, you can learn from other traders. Can we just pay to be in the group? You can also do that, like send you a payment or something. Yeah, you can also do that. Let me check. What's going to be useful for that? Oh, I just showed. Yeah, maybe you can drop your Telegram handle in the chat. Then I will tell my team to send you a message, and then from there we can move further. Because you can also do one-time payment instead of depositing. But yeah, just drop your Telegram handle, and then I will let my team send you a message of joining the group. It's also a possibility, but not something we have standard like for most people. But yeah, also a lot of profits are being made, so that's amazing. Also the WEO FI launch, a lot of people actually did make some money on the group, because you also have like a community with a lot of other people. So also that is of course a nice thing. You can just trade with other people, learn with other people. That's of course also super important, just like the community aspect of it. Maybe that's even the most important thing. I would drop here 7th global. Right, I will forward it to my team, and I think they will be sending you a message quite quickly here. If there are other people with like the same situation here, just let me know in the chat. Because yeah, if you are a serious trader, we understand you maybe don't want to use VX. Of course, we do think it's an absolutely amazing exchange. But if you don't want to do so, and do want to trade somewhere else, of course, you can just let us know. If you're a serious trader, we are also very glad to have you guys, because the community aspect, like stated, is so important in the group. Just learning from each other. That's in my opinion the most important thing. You do need like a team. Definitely for the ending stage of the cycle, it's going to be so important. But enough talks about the group, because we are actually here for the data. Let me check if we have some more news coming out about the data, because we do know it's delayed. No, not yet. Lutnick predicts better job number accuracy after Trump fired the BLS chief, so the Bureau of Labor of Statistics. Okay, that's interesting. Let's see about exactly that. Employment data may be delayed. Yeah. Let's see. No official statement yet, so I do still think we could be seeing the data in actually 1 minute, guys. So the time is going so fast. Let me check if you're going to see it in 1 minute. I will keep my news page on X open here, because I have all the latest news dropping there, because of the accounts I follow. ETH update, I will give an ETH update soon, brother. Unemployment rate, we have it coming out. I'm going to post it. Expected. Ooh. Let me quickly post it on all my pages, guys. It's dropping now, it's dropping now. Boom. Okay, let me check, let me refresh. What is it going to be? Whoa, this is insane. The non-farm payrolls, 22k. Whoa, that's like a very weak labor market. Oh, that's insane. US private payrolls. Whoa, that's like insane data, guys. The unemployment rate is 4.3%, so that's just like expectations. Not that interesting, but the non-farm payrolls, the US labor market is very weak here. So I do think Ethereum could be seeing a reaction. This is definitely going to be positive for rate cuts. Whoa. Ooh, we are seeing a big spike for Ethereum also. Ooh, it's actually turned negative, but it is bullish data. It is definitely bullish data. Wow, this is like an insanely weak labor market. So we are going to see some stimulation. That's something we know for sure now. Let me just do a quick post. I'm seeing some messages, pump and dump. It actually is. But I do think this is going to be a trap because the data is very bullish. Maybe the delay was someone dropped it. Maybe. But actually it's insane data, guys. Maybe it doesn't say a lot to some people, but like the US job market isn't looking too well here. Oh, Bitcoin's pumping. Bitcoin's pumping. Let me check. Sorry, guys. I also have to do some posts on Twitter and stuff. Let me get back to Bitcoin. Bitcoin breaking above 130,000 US dollars now. I think so. Or seeing a big spike. It was a big pump and dump actually. Whoa. Okay. But yeah, I think my friend Crypto Rover did post everything. Much lower US payrolls, non-farm payrolls than expected. Yeah, that's going to be hugely bullish for crypto. Let me check. Insane data. US labor market is not looking too well. And that's going to be, I do think this is actually maybe even a reason to definitely be cutting more rates in the near future. I don't think it will be enough for a 50 BPS rate cut, but this is not looking too well. The unemployment rate, which is, we must be honest, which is maybe even more important data, is 4.3%. So that is just like expectations, and that won't move the markets as well. I will take a look towards the rate cut probabilities. If something is happening with that, 99%. Rate cuts confirmed. And that is because the US labor market, the non-farm payrolls, have been coming out so insanely weak, guys. So that is absolutely insane. I'll just have it back here on the screen for you guys. You can take a look in the data. Also, I'm doing some posts once again. I have to multitask a little bit. Sorry, guys. But this is very, very important data. Boom. We'll go back to the charts quickly here. Oh, Bitcoin actually pumping up again. That's amazing. The most important thing is going to be taking out that high here. If you could do something like that, it's going to be would be super nice. Let's see about it. Yeah, very weak data. It's insane. And Bitcoin does like this data, I'm quite for sure. And also, guys, if we did see like very bullish job report data, it would be bad for Bitcoin here. So actually, this is some very nice data we have been coming out. I'm just looking if there's some new news. Yeah, the US dollar is now dropping very hard because investors are seeing the US economy is not looking too well. Traders are increasing their bets on rate cuts. Yeah, also that is something I will do a quick post about on Twitter, because that is actually insane. Let me check. Yeah, also gold is now exploding to the top side, guys, because people are seeing that the US economy is not looking well. Insane. 99% chance of a rate cut now. 99%, guys. Let me do a quick post. Rate. Yeah, traders are adding their bets. Also a post from Kobayashi. This marks the second lowest job reports number since July 2021. That's insane. That's going to be everything we need to know. Maybe we are even going to see larger rate cut, guys, because this is actually very bad news for the US labor market. That's a test pump. Main pump is coming next. Yes, definitely. I will be diving back into towards the Ethereum charts in a minute, guys. Just 1 second, 1 second. I will be diving back into it. Rate cut odds hit 99%. I will be diving back in the chart, guys. 1 minute. Just posting this. Because now the rate cut also 99%, so that's super important. Yeah, just a test pump Ethereum. How's Ethereum looking? Yeah, it's still a pump and dump. But guys, like I stated at the beginning of the video, the thing with this data was we were actually at 97.8% before hitting 99%. So it is quite realistic that there wasn't that much upside maybe for Ethereum. But I do think in the upcoming days we could be seeing more of a reaction because the data is definitely hinting on more rate cuts than just one in September. That's going to be something very important because there's something wrong with the US job market, guys. Just look at the post from Kobayashi. It's not looking well. The US labor market is rapidly deteriorating, and I do think the same. It's not looking too well. It paves the path for a rate cut on September 17 and likely at least one more after that. Yeah, that's actually also exactly what I'm thinking. I do think more rate cuts are going to be imminent because this data is definitely not looking too well for the US labor market. Let me check what we have coming out. You can make this up. Yeah, just all of the data. Also some less important data is coming out. Very weak for the market. Gold is now making new highs because of the uncertainty. And also remember, guys, gold moving up is not something bearish for Bitcoin because eventually I've closed the chart with the Bitcoin and gold leg, but eventually Bitcoin does tend to follow gold, definitely on that somewhat of a longer term. So it's actually quite bullish. Yeah, gold is now absolutely exploding to the top side indeed, making all-time highs of the all-time highs. Guys, we have like some insane months incoming, I think. And how quick is the US labor market deteriorating here? It's insane. Let me check. Yeah, it is going to be bullish news, and we are going to see a lot of rate cuts. I will dive back into towards Ethereum because someone target for ETH for you after this announcement before the dump. Oh yeah. We just saw like the pump and dump, but just like stated earlier, I do think this is super bullish news for Ethereum, but we just don't know yet how much rate cuts, of course. But September we are going to see the first one. We do know that around rate cuts, we do see a lot of volatility, not only to the top side but also to the downside. So also be aware of that. But I do think it's going to be a bullish stimulant for risk assets. So definitely Ethereum and smaller altcoins. To be moving higher here, it's definitely looking quite bullish. Also for the upcoming days, I think. But this bull run total tree top. Let me get the total tree chart. Just drop your questions, guys, if you do want to know something, because we have the data now, so we can talk a little bit more in depth about the charts now. Yeah, total tree. The thing is, it's like the total tree chart is like a beautiful cup and handle pattern. I will just draw it out on the chart. It's an amazing chart, actually. Let me draw it out. That 4.5k ETH resistance is very strong. It indeed is very strong. But I do think we could be breaking that quite fast because of the data with coming out. Yeah, we have this beautiful cup and handle pattern playing out. And yeah, eventually you do want to be breaking the neckline. You can take a look towards the neckline in a few different ways. But yeah, once the total tree is going to break out here, I'm actually expecting a massive breakout. And yeah, I do think if we should make an expectation of how high we could be moving, I will also just fix it a little bit. We just have to look into what happened historically, because that's how I like to look at the markets. Also in my videos, you guys know that in the update videos, I take a big deep dive into what's the historical data mostly. I hope you guys enjoy that, but that's for me the most reliable indicator for most of the decisions I want to make in the markets. I will just, again, let me get the good one. The price range. Oh, still, it's weird. Maybe I've still no, this is a good one. I would just check, just put a percentage on that, and then you are looking towards the total tree. Yeah, I do think if you're looking, for example, on this chart, I do believe in diminishing returns also for this cycle and also for the total tree top. I do think the biggest driver of altcoins could actually be US, doesn't have to be US, but treasury companies actually buying altcoins. A treasury company focused altcoins like we are seeing with Ethereum, but also with smaller coins like TON, Kronos, with a lot of altcoins we are currently seeing that. I do think that could be driving up the price, and of course also the total tree market cap. But yeah, just with diminishing returns, I do think like 100% gain could be in the tank. So a 2x for the altcoin market cap here, for example. I do think that's possible. The market top in October and November. Yeah, I do think that that could be a possibility. But it's like, are you talking about the Bitcoin top or just like the ending of bullish pricings for altcoins? Because what I personally think is that yes, we could see a Bitcoin top in October, November. Usually after that, I do think more November actually, but usually after that, about 2 to 4 weeks after that, Ethereum tends to top out. And after that, altcoins top out, because eventually, yeah, you just move in that cycle, so altcoins will top out the less. So for altcoins, you could see, for example, also in December, some positive price action. But yeah, back to the news. Yeah, 99% of a rate cut, like we did see earlier. Actually, the market move is not looking too well. Still pump and dump. But yeah, the market was expecting this, but I don't think it was expecting such a weak report. Only 22k jobs added in the US this August, with the 3 monthly average at 29k. Huge miss. Interest rate cuts incoming. Yeah, it's definitely a huge miss. Definitely. Also, manufacturing jobs fell by 12k, are now down by 78k over the years. Yeah, rate cuts are truly confirmed. That's definitely something we do know for sure now, because this was a very bad print for the labor market actually. I would just also do some posts on Twitter again. Just drop some questions in the comments, guys. Then I will be taking a look into that. What an insane report. Yeah, it's Bitcoin pump and dump. And guys, if you do now want, let's see how my Ethereum trade is doing, by the way. Yeah, it basically just did not change. Like, yeah, we saw a pump and dump, but definitely not the volatility I was hoping for. But we did know that, and we did state that at the beginning of the stream. There was not that much to gain actually. So, but yeah, my Ethereum trade still in a $500 profit, 15k Ethereum trade. Like I said, I do have some limit orders open. If you do want to get updated about all of these trades, sorry, just joined. Is it in favor of crypto then? One sec, I will answer your question in a moment. So I have this limit orders open in case the market is going to move lower, guys. That doesn't mean I'm bearish, guys, but you just have to play both sides of the market. We are still in September, which is usually a more bearish month. But if you do want to get updated about my trades, guys, and more updates, just make sure to join that VIP Telegram channel. You can find it in the link in the description on this YouTube video. You have to do a few steps on there. Yeah, just make sure to join the channel if you do want to get updated about my trades, crypto rover trades, and also from 5 professional other traders who are now sharing a lot of setups actually. Here, 16 messages from one trader. That's insane. Those are a lot of setups which you could be learning a lot from. So make sure to check that out. So I just joined. Is it in favor of crypto then? It's definitely in favor of crypto, since we are going to see a lot of stimulation. The job report is actually looking insanely weak. Basically, the weakest since 2021. So that's insane data. And we do know that crypto likes stimulation, likes rate cuts. It's not good for the bigger markets and the bigger perspective of the US economy. You do also want the US economy to do well, but that's definitely not the case. But I think on the sort of a shorter term, it's going to be bullish for risk assets and altcoins, because people are, once we're going to see more stimulation, people will start basically fleeing in towards risk assets, trying to protect their money. Is it today that Michael Saylor will be accepted in Wall Street? And if yes, it must give a super boost to Bitcoin. No? I think it's today, actually. I don't know if he will be accepted, because he does meet all the criteria for an S&P 500 inclusion. So he could be included, but it doesn't have to happen. He could also still not be included yet. It could be a huge boost, because I think, for example, pension funds, they do have to, they also buy a lot of S&P 500 stocks. So basically a lot more exposure is coming free for MicroStrategy, Bitcoin, because all those big institutional powerhouses in the USA, basically, they have to, they always accumulate S&P 500 stocks. So maybe we could see like somewhat of new markets opening also for Bitcoin there. So I do think it could be bullish. I don't think it will be a super boost on the short term, because it would not go so fast. But on the bigger perspective, it's going to be very bullish for the adoption of crypto in general, I think. If markets rally from here, will it reach December high in this move? Could be. I basically, I do think that last move could be starting any moment. I do think you're asking it for altcoins. I do think the last move could basically be starting any moment. And the thing is, I do think once this last and final move is going to start for altcoins and for Ethereum also, it's going to be a huge move. So we will probably move above the December highs. I do think we will make new all-time highs eventually, because we still haven't seen an altcoin season yet. Do you think meme coins will get the hype again like last year? Yeah, I definitely do think so. I do think that maybe it's now a little bit more utility focused. We can see it in the market with Ethereum pumping, and that was mostly because of the treasury companies, and that's why also interest is coming back to utility. But I do also think there's still interest for meme coins. And once you're truly going to see retail interest return on the market, also meme coins are going to start performing quite well again. And still, like if you look at the DEX screen, we still have like a lot of meme coins running quite hard, actually. So, large caps you were talking about. Yeah, also, it depends which large caps, actually. Because I don't even think that all large caps have to make new December highs, new all-time highs, because I do think it's more of a quite, more of a focused cycle. So I don't think all altcoins will be moving from here, and also not all large caps. Dodge needs to start moving, then sheep, then Pepe, then it goes down. It depends what meme coins you're holding, because I do understand your thoughts, but the thing is, if for example Solana is going to start outperforming once again, like for example now, the thing is why it's more of a utility season now and not that much of a meme coin season anymore, is because Solana has been performing quite poorly against Ethereum, and everything has been performing poorly against Ethereum, guys. So it's not that weird, but actually Solana versus Ethereum has been moving down lately, Solana versus Ethereum chart. So that's why the ecosystem is just seeing less liquidity flowing in. And once Solana, for example, could start outperforming again, which is of course also always a possibility, then in that stage of the market, we could still see meme coins running, because most still run on Solana. Just taking a quick sip of water. Getting somewhat of a dry throat. So we have to see. But I do still think meme coins could be running higher. Definitely. Let's take a dive into the latest news. Now, also Trump will be making an announcement today and signing some executive orders, but I don't think those will have anything to do with crypto. So I'm not going to hype it like, oh, that's going to be massive. I don't think so. Goldman Sachs buy the September dip. Goldman Sachs macro traders advises buying September stock dip, predicting the S&P could climb much higher. That's nice. There's so much manipulation happening now. It's better to be sidelined or participate in the market. Yeah, but like there's always manipulation. So you could basically forever be sidelined because of manipulation. For example, I don't think you should be sidelined now. I do think it's actually a great moment to be accumulating just before we are going to see a lot of stimulation. It's possible that the move we experienced today was a fake pump and market might dump lower from the resistance. Of course, it's always a possibility, but I do actually think the market is looking quite fine and quite good because guys, the data was like extremely bullish for crypto, but because the rate cut odds are so high, there was not too much room to see a bigger move. But once we are going to see the rate cut at the 17th of September, eventually we're going to see a new FOMC meeting, and maybe then we could be making a new move higher. I do think September could be a little bit of a cool down period still for Bitcoin and crypto before starting a big move higher. I still target Q4 personally for that. I also have been saying that in all of my update videos that I do target Q4 for the most explosive crypto price action, and yeah, I do still think that's going to happen. But I don't think we have to see like a big correction now. Of course, it was like a fake pump. We can see it on the chart. But I don't think we have to like dump much lower. Yes, the manipulation is too much. But I'm also quite. The thing is, like, I see a lot of people talking about manipulation also on X, but you should not believe like everything you do read on X, guys, because also posting about market manipulation does get a lot of engagement. You should also be understanding that. And of course there's market manipulation, but yeah, people also do want to blame market manipulation for their own poor investment decisions. That's just the truth. And just hold for a longer time. Just your time in the market is so much more important than timing the market. Like timing the market now with this macro conditions we are currently seeing, and for example this data coming out once again, is probably going to be one of the hardest things ever. So the 17th comes, they announce the cut. There is a lag, isn't there before a move starts happening. It doesn't start flying straight away, so to be prepared for a slight delay before it begins. It depends. It depends on how the market is looking at it. Like, for example, with this, we saw like a huge move high before the rate cut is happening. And that's because it wasn't expected yet. Then we saw a policy shift from Powell, and then it was quite a surprise, the policy shift from the Fed. And then the rate cut probabilities were spiking and risk assets started pumping. That doesn't always have to be the case, because if we are going to see, for example, rate cuts, it usually does take like a few months even before that liquidity is truly going to hit the markets. New liquidity is going to hit the markets, basically. So it's more of the market's front running the rate cuts and the probabilities of that, and that's why prices can start pumping higher. Then it doesn't have even too much to do with the rate cuts. It's just like the outlook for more stimulation later in the future, if that makes sense. What are your thoughts about the tariff court case? It's very interesting. It's also super uncertain, so it definitely does have a big effect on the markets. I do eventually think that Trump could be getting the tariffs through, because the thing is, if you are now going to truly block the tariffs, if the judge will block the tariffs, like a lot of investments in the USA will not come true. Bitcoin's pumping. Well, it's a small pump, but we are pumping a little bit. I will go to the lower time frames because that's better for our dopamine. Let's check. Oh, we are actually getting close to the highs. Insane. If you're going to break this level, guys, I do think we could be moving towards that CME gap quite quickly. I will be also doing some posts. We could be moving towards that CME gap quite quickly, guys. Ooh, Bitcoin's pumping. We are moving towards the high, over the high. This is looking amazing. Let me do a quick post. Yeah, guys, the data was actually quite bullish. 113k, let's go. That's amazing. How's my trade doing? Let me check. $100 again. Absolutely amazing. I can have a dinner again. Let me check. Ooh, 113k. Let me do some quick posts on X once again, guys. I'm so sorry. But we also have to show the audience on X. Bitcoin breaks 113K. Boom. Let's go, guys. It's looking good. It's looking very good. How's Bitcoin doing? Back to the charts. I'm so sorry, guys. The charts, of course, the most important thing now. Yeah, of course, seeing a little bit of rejection now, but that's logical. I do think this is actually a very bullish price action for Bitcoin. Kindly increase your voice. Yeah, I do think it's more of I just need to be more close to the mic. I'm sorry. Can everybody hear me? Hear me? Sometimes I'm just move a little bit back, for example, and I'm just a little bit further away from the mic because like my volume is the hardest I can like get it. So is it okay? Bitcoin hits bullish or bearish? Very bullish. Very bullish. It's okay? Ah, great. Amazing. Yeah, it's very bullish data, guys. It's very bullish. I can hear using volume boosting plugins though. Lol. Yeah, maybe I should do this for like, guys. It's like my first stream. So if you have like tips on how I can also increase or not increase how I can better the stream with like maybe some plugins or just some cool effects or something, just let me know in the comments also, because I will be streaming a lot more. Also, of course, the FOMC meeting next week. We have some important CPI data coming out. So we'll be streaming a lot more. I really enjoy it with you guys in the chat. So because I do just want to learn more about my audience and how you guys are doing and how you guys are moving in the markets. And that's also why I'm even more active in the Telegram group just during the day, because that's of course a lot more easy than YouTube. So if you do want to know about all of my insights, just make sure to join that group in the description on this update video, of on this live stream. Love the stream, by the way. Amazing to hear that, man. I'm so happy to hear that, because I truly enjoyed with you guys. Does the real altcoin season start after the final Bitcoin rotation? Yeah, probably. Yeah, I do actually think. I do think you're a little bit talking about the Bitcoin dominance, and the Bitcoin dominance now moving up a little bit, because that's actually what happens in September. Oh, I have the chart ready here. Let me show it to you guys. Like, this is the Bitcoin dominance chart in September. Yeah, we also have like the bearish crossover on the MACD. I do think most of you guys do know about that. I've been posting a lot about that on Twitter, actually. We do have like the bearish crossover on the MACD. Exactly also happening in that September period. Oh, everyone indicate too much. I'll just get this away. Like we are seeing some similarities with 2021 for the Bitcoin dominance, because now the Bitcoin dominance is seeing a slight push higher, which is actually quite bullish, because it's also happened in 2021. A little bit of money flooding back in towards Bitcoin, like that final rotation, and then seeing that massive move lower, and that's through altcoin season. So it is not a bad thing, in my opinion, to see Bitcoin outperforming Ethereum a little bit for now, for like the next few weeks. Bitcoin making a new all-time high, then Ethereum following, Ethereum seeing that big push higher we've all been waiting for, and then eventually seeing most altcoins explode. Now, not even most, but a lot of certain altcoins explode, and I will make an update video about that later, because I saw some questions about that too. Is it me, or has this cycle been the hardest ever? Everything seems to be taking so long. I'm new to this, so I don't know when it could actually top. I just know big things are due anytime soon. Yeah, it is a very hard cycle, and I'm hearing this a lot also from my friends, for example. I didn't see you. I'm hearing this a lot from my friends also. It's quite a hard cycle, and it's just because it's not like we are seeing a bad cycle or something. Like, just look at the insane move of Bitcoin this cycle higher. A lot of people also forget that, because this cycle does feel a bit different. I don't know if it is like the hardest cycle, but it feels a lot different, because Bitcoin is just moving in a completely other way. It's moving like we are seeing here in these big consolidation phases I was talking about. So the cycle is just different, and that's why it also feels a lot different. And it might not even be the hardest. And once that altcoin season is going to hit, maybe it won't feel like the hardest anymore. I didn't see your post. Are you the one managing Crypto Rovers exposed? Yeah, also do some posts for him here and there, for like the most important news, because we do want to get it out to the most people as possible. Awesome stream and very helpful too. Amazing. I'm so glad to hear that once again. If you do have some more questions for me, just drop in the comments, guys. I absolutely love chatting with you guys. I'm enjoying it a lot. Maybe sometimes I do speak a little bit too fast. That's just because I'm loving it. Let me check Bitcoin short term. Yeah, still looking very good. And the pump started earlier today. Bitcoin has been looking very strong for like the full day here. So yeah, I do think we might be in for more upside in like the next few days. Of course, it's Friday again, guys. So tomorrow we have like a new we have of course weekend once again, and we have a new CME gap. So yeah, weekends are not too much. Are definitely not my favorite. Oh, hello, sir. Sorry, I just have like a guest coming in here. So yeah, weekends are not my favorite because we are getting a new CME gap, and it's probably going to be quite boring once again. But ultimately, I do think this is actually setting up the markets for more positive upside, more positive price action in like the upcoming days, because the job report was actually very bad. So I do think it's bullish. Do you want to say something on the stream?
No, I'm okay.
I have Crypto over here, so maybe he has some insights.
Yeah, I saw the market is pumping, so that's amazing.
That's amazing.
Amazing pump.
That's amazing. You don't speak too fast, that's fine. Oh, amazing.
You do speak very fast, I think.
Yeah, I do think so too.
Good luck with the stream.
Thank you so much, brother. Okay, here's another question for you. When do you see BTCD fall off a cliff? I'm waiting for that 120 days window like previous cycles. Obvious rough guess. Not going to hold you to the exact day. Yeah, that's always a hard thing for me because of course I make some predictions here and there, and like people hold me accountable for it. But of course you can never like predict the exact cycle for the Bitcoin dominance. But we can take a look into the chart once again. Like stated, we are now in that September period, so I do think it actually looks a lot like what we saw in 2021. I do think we could see like a new, not a higher high for the Bitcoin dominance, but we could see somewhat of a local higher and then eventually seeing a move lower. Yeah, I do think that this is probably going to start after September. So probably October, November maybe even. But I do think in October we could see like the first big Bitcoin dominance moves lower once again into that Q4 basically. Because that does line up the best with the seasonality. Yeah, that's just my thoughts about it. It does line up with the history, with the seasonality. It also lines up perfectly with the bearish crossover on the MACD for the Bitcoin dominance, where also we saw the bearish crossover. Everybody was getting super excited again, and then we did saw once again a new high for the Bitcoin dominance, and then eventually it pushed lower. It's definitely not going to be easy. Are we in a real September crash? Maybe. I don't think we could. Like the thing with the September crashes, and I've talked about a lot on this channel too. Let me check it. Like the thing with the September crash is something very interesting actually. Let's go back to first of all 2017, the post-halving 2017. What did we saw there? Back to September the 1st. Draw the line. Look what you see. You see like the immediate dump in September. So that's 2017. 1st of September, immediate dump to the downside. Seasonality kicking in. If you, for example, go to 2021... Let me check. It was like the later stage of the cycle. It was, I guess, yeah, it was here. we see the same. Not an immediate dump, but we saw like a little push higher and then a big dump to the downside. And before that, we were pumping actually. And now it is different, and that is something I've been talking a lot about in my update videos. Just look at here, the 1st of September. Now, we saw a massive dump before September from the all-time highs to the way down, and then eventually a new uptick in the beginning of September. So if like the crash would be starting now, it doesn't line up with 2017, and if it would be if it would be looking somewhat like 2021, then it should be starting now, the big move down. So I don't think Bitcoin is going to move that much lower. If we are going to see a move to the downside, of course, it could still happen. But yeah, we have seen the crash, and I don't think we have to see like another massive September crash anymore. I don't believe in that. You guys are all together, you and Crypto Rover. Yeah, now we are together. We are just working with each other here. Mr. Crypto, not with him now, but he's also a good friend of mine. Okay, here's another question for you. I did answer that earlier. I've got in my head mid-November is the time I would be on 2024. Yeah, it's hard. Like mid-September is also like a too narrow time frame to be exactly predicting. I think it's hard. Like mid-November, it could be the case, but also I do think October is going to give us more upside. Where does this accent come from? Dutch. It is Dutch, actually. That is where the accent does come from. I'm trying to do better. This September will be different. Maybe. Your mic is pretty soft. Yeah, I'm trying to stay close to the mic and talk clearly, but yeah, it's hard sometimes. It's my first live stream, so. Oh, nice emoji. So yeah, like stated, those are my thoughts about September and what we could be seeing next for the market. Back to Bitcoin. This September dump is already priced in. Yeah, could be a high chance that is the case indeed, because we saw like the dump before September. So yeah, that could be the case. CME gap, yeah, still a CME gap above us. Are there any crypto economic YouTubers that you're watching? Yeah, actually, I do watch a lot of crypto economic YouTubers. I do think like not a lot of economic YouTubers. I just watch like a lot of general economic content on YouTube, because I do think there's like so much nice content. I see like so much nice content. Yeah, sorry, I was reading some comments. So much nice content about economics. Crypto, yeah, of course I do watch Crypto Over, Mr. Crypto, some other guys. I do like Benjamin Cowen, into the Cryptoverse. Of course, we've Called the Moon, we have Crypto Kid. I do think most of the guys are making great content, but it really does depend on what are your goals in the market, basically. Yeah, that's the most important stuff. You should align the YouTubers you're watching with your own goals in the market. Do you want to be more altcoin focused? Do you want more Bitcoin focused? Do you just want to DCA? Do you want to trade? There are so many different things. And in my opinion, just like a global understanding of economics and just like the global markets is always amazing to have, because yeah, for everybody it's relevant. You do want to protect your money against inflation and stuff like that. It's important. I see the mic settings on the bottom left on the taskbar and increase its sensitivity. I don't think you can see it. I don't think where you see it on the bottom left, actually. I would just look in my live stream myself. 1 second. I'll just take a look. I don't know where you see that, actually. I can't see it myself, to be fair. Like the sound effect, but like it's not that, because if I do want other sound, I have to do it in OBS, like the streaming software. Do you think ETH dominance will surpass last cycle's all-time high? I have a chart and watched that view as well. Yeah, I do think ETH dominance could be. Let me check. On the weekly, for example. Yeah, It's a hard question, of course. I believe in diminishing returns, so I do also think there's a possibility that the e-dominance could be topping out before the previous highs. Something which is, in my opinion, very different now is the accumulation of the treasury companies. And that is something which could e-dominance, which could drive e-dominance much higher, in my opinion. Because, yeah, it is such like, the market cap is so much lower than Bitcoin's, for example. So treasury companies can't really drive up the dominance from Bitcoin in the market that much anymore, I think. You just need a lot of accumulation to do something like that. And for Ethereum, that's actually not even too much the case. So maybe the Ethereum dominance could be moving higher. That puts us over 20%, I think, off the top of my head. Yeah. It's not something I would target for. For me, I would always have some targets like earlier than the previous cycle highs for the Ethereum dominance, and the same for Ethereum versus Bitcoin, because I do believe in diminishing returns. I don't say it's not possible, but that's what I believe in currently myself as investor. Jessa, September. Jessa, how are you doing, my friend? It's September. I hope so. Any chance that this pump might end, and after feeling the CME gap, then dump hard? No, I don't think we are going to dump that hard after filling up the CME gap. We could see a move downwards from there, but I don't think we will dump that hard, actually. Of course, we could be doing so if like something's going to happen in the market, if you're going to see like a very bearish event on the macroeconomic side of the markets. But yeah, that's not the case now. So actually, if you just look at the employment data, sorry, I had some sounds on, it's actually looking quite good. So on somewhat of the perspective of the few months, I'm actually getting quite bullish on the markets here, because I do think we are going to see a lot of stimulation. Yeah, just like somebody said earlier in the comments, Michael Saylor could be approved for the S&P 500 as early as today. That is indeed true. Also, new news coming out: SEC and CFTC to consider onshoring perpetual contracts. Yeah, we are seeing this. We have seen this news earlier that actually the big institution in the USA do want to not legalize, but they do want to make it easier to trade in the USA. So that's actually also looking quite interesting. Also for like the offshore exchanges, it could bring a lot of volume actually. Yeah, not that much more dropping. The under unemployment rate just hit 8. Underemployment rate. This is basically everything I'm seeing in the market is just telling us that the market is not looking good. The US labor market I'm talking about, it's definitely not looking good. Say if they cut rates into 2026, does that extend the cycle, or does the 4-year cycle still play out? 4-year cycle to end in October, that's something I always struggle with understanding. Yeah, basically the 4-year cycle is mostly based on liquidity cycles, indeed. On just following the liquidity for assets, most definitely. There are also a lot of people who don't believe in the 4-year cycle anymore now. For this cycle, and it is definitely a lot different, but I believe in it until proven otherwise. So if I'm just going to see that the market is going to move away from the 4-year cycle, and we will see that in like the upcoming months, we can just get another strategy on that basically. But I do believe it until proven otherwise. The thing with rate cuts is, they could be rate cutting into 2026. But an important thing to understand is that the liquidity from rate cuts is not going to hit the markets immediately. It will take a few months, maybe even a year, for that liquidity to be hitting the market. So that's why that's a little bit different actually. And then it doesn't really matter for the 4-year cycle too much. It's also just a lot of market hype actually. And people are also seeing that the US economy is struggling, that the US labor market is weakening, and people start fleeing in towards riskier assets like Ethereum, but also Bitcoin, altcoins. No, not that much altcoins yet, but let's say Bitcoin and Ethereum for now, because there they can basically, how do I say it? That they can protect their money against the inflation. And also the US dollar is like moving down aggressively once again, and that is also just like look at this. Look at the US dollar. It's insane. It's insane. And that shows you like the confidence of global investors in the US labor market. They're definitely not very positive about the US labor market here. Thanks for answering all my questions so far. I've spammed you. Definitely no problem. I love to answer all of the questions. But yeah, it shows the confidence in the US dollar, in the US labor market, in the US economy. And the US dollar is basically telling us everything we need to know. And the same can be said for gold, guys. It's insane. Same can be said for gold here. And guys, I don't see a lot of other stuff coming out here. So yeah, I think I will be ending the stream, because I do think we have seen the most important stuff, and we've talked about the most important stuff. It was also for me just a bit of a stream to check things out, to see how things work, etc. Because yeah, it's the first time streaming, so basically setting everything up. Yeah, if you guys have one last question, I will wait for like a few minutes before ending the stream. I hope you guys enjoyed it, definitely. If you do want more updates about this Ethereum trading position I still have open here, just make sure to join the VIP Telegram group with this link in the description of the live stream. Make sure to check it out. Thank you for the stream. No problem, my friend. No problem. I hope, first of all, to see you guys in the next stream once again. Thank you, man. No problem. It was absolutely amazing. I hope you guys will be joining the next stream once again. Thanks, brother. No problem. Alright, guys, that's it. I'm seeing no new question anymore. So, guys, that's it. I will see you guys later in the next update video tomorrow. I hope you guys had an amazing time, and I will see you guys there. Bye.